Okay, today's guest is the inspiring Kathy Baldwin, founder of Rise Up Coaching, author of Unlearn the Crap, and international speaker. Kathy transitioned from her corporate career to entrepreneurship after her own midlife crisis and personal alignment. She utilizes her 40 plus years of personal development, coaching, and extensive learning of over 100 leading experts to guide her clients with her proprietary methods using bioresonance, universal laws, and true authentic alignment. Kathy, welcome to Reach Millions TV.
Thank you, Tracy, so much for having me here.
All righty. So my mission is to help entrepreneurs to live their legacy life, which is aligning your divine message to your purpose-driven goals so you can reach millions and deliver from your overflow. So let me start by asking you this. Tell me a bit about your background and the mission of your business.
Well, I'm going to start with the mission because of what you just said.
Okay, good.
My mission is to reach as many people as possible so that they can take this paradigm shift that we're in and unlearn the crap that is taking them off course and have them aligned to their own purpose and goals so that they can bring their gifts to the world.
Oh, love it, love it. I mean, I have this saying, which is really about you are on a mission, you have a purpose that only you can do. And
Yes.
so we have to do that. Whatever got us to where we are, whatever experiences we've now accumulated, it's time to focus in and get the job done, especially that we're at the, I'll say the later half of our journey.
Well, we've amassed enough information and we've made enough mistakes that.
Yes, we have for sure. I mean, yeah, that's right. How many? Oh, I'll pull that little story out for you. You think you're going that way? Let me tell you about this. I know. It's beautiful of wisdom. And I mean, I was actually raised or had my grandmother in the house with me from the age of 5. And I think a lot of people don't appreciate, talking to the elderly or whatever we want to call them, right? Because there's just so much there that I think a lot of today's generation is missing as far as that, that thread of wisdom throughout their ages.
Absolutely. I actually think it's more systemic than that, that we were taken away from our communities in the Industrial Revolution. We were brought into cities where we didn't know anybody. And then it became a very isolating, lonely place. We lost our elders, we lost our mentors, we lost our support system. And that's why, as far as I'm concerned, we have to unlearn the crap.
I love that observation and really kind of, yeah, pulling it all together from a earlier beginning than even where we are today, because God, forbid now we introduce all the technology that has taken us even further and isolated us more. And then of course, circumstances that have done that as well. And now where we are today is exactly a great point. It's a global reboot. And so, let's shovel some stuff out of the way so we can get down to business.
Absolutely. But I think we're in an amazing, amazing time. COVID, I think, was a reset for the world, but now our technology and our knowledge is rising so fast that I truly believe that we are in a time where AI and computers and robotics are going to take over the labor intensive, repetitive jobs. And now is the time for the call of our humanity, for our innovation, our creation, our imagination, our compassion, all of the things that make us so amazingly human is being called forth right now.
I absolutely love that. I mean, if you go back to the early onset of when computers came in, right? Those were touted as these are now going to, rapidly take away all the crap, all the crappy jobs and all the crappy this. And we're going to have an amazing work week. We're going to be down to, 10 hours a week, and we're going to have a life, and we're going to have to be able to have long vacations and enjoy life like quite frankly it was supposed to be. Anything that created this slave nation we often are a part of was by now our own design. And I love the analogy that it's time to really take technology, let it do what it was designed to do. So we can imagine when we're creating, imagine when we're imagining, and we're
Yes.
building a community, and we're putting our thoughts to, water and food and things that honestly are the foundation of how we're going to sustain life on the planet.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more.
Love it. Okay, so you have something called Mastering the Art of the Midlife Pivot. What is that?
Well, a lot of people call midlife as a crisis.
Right.
And I believe midlife is a pivot time. And it's a time where we're generally done with the previous chapter, the previous identity, whatever it was, whether it was parenthood or building your career or whatever. We come and we finish that chapter. And now, who are we? And so when we don't know who we are, when we don't align with our purpose and our passion and our specific purposeful goal of what we're here for, then I think we get lost. And then we have a lot of mental health, depression, stress and burnout. Disease is rampant. There's just so much going on when we're out of our own alignment. And so I think this is a perfect time, like Beyonce just did. I mean, who would have thought Beyonce was country? Really? But she was done with that phase of her life and she was ready to explore another part of her. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
I completely agree. It really is an evolutionary unfolding of self all the time. Layer and layer and layer of onion come off till eventually you're like, there we are. And now I see this Beyonce reference that you had that makes it clear. I often think of Lady Gaga, right? Who she was pop, 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 and then of course ends up singing, old school and that with Tony Bennett. I
Yes.
it's a very a similar thing. And why did she end up there? It's because that's where she wanted to be, but nobody would accept her at the time to be who she wanted to, or do the music at her time that she wanted to do. They wanted a very specific style. And it's an interesting, and it's simply sometimes part of the journey, in that
Mm-hmm.
you need to, in order to make that impact, in order to get that influence that she got, now she has that power to make it go down an avenue, and she leverages kind of
Mm-hmm.
her abilities to put attention on things that really matter in the world. And that's, I think, when it becomes a very powerful intersection now.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of a pivot, is we did what we had to do, whether it was social conditioning or whatever we went through. And now we get to be authentic. And it's never been more important, I believe, for us to be truly who we are, who we're meant to be. And we go out of this world, what's that joke? Skidding to the grave saying, I left no stone unturned, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. And that's why I talk about living your legacy life, not leaving it. Because
Mm,
in order to accomplish what you're put here to do, you are going to have to live it. Because that's simply, you can't be the deliverer of a message or the implementer of technology, of principles, systems, whatever it is, unless you're actually putting that element in place so that it can continue once you do leave. And
absolutely.
yeah, so it's exactly kind of as you say, we need to be getting far more active on the, I'll call it the necessity as part of it, but also the identification of, hey, here we are, it's our time. And the best part is it's okay to be exactly who you want to be.
Yes.
There hasn't been a time, honestly, in history where you could come out and say certain things like who you were and what your beliefs were without getting hung, without getting killed, without getting, the witches of Salem, God forbid, we talk about healing powers and I'm sorry, up you go. It's just,
I say that all the time. I would have
yeah,
been burned as a witch.
I would have been burned, no question. Everything that would have come out of my mouth would have said, she's a witch. And
Me
I
too.
love that. I love the witches club, right? I call it the crazy club now because everyone says, you're crazy for thinking that, Okay, good. I'm on track.
But the thing is, science is finally picking up to what we called woo. And I believe they called stuff woo that was non-profitable
Mhm.
because you can't sell universal laws. You can't sell personal alignment, but you can sell a pill.
Yep. It's the whole thing, right? You can't make a lot of money from telling somebody that, heal thyself, right? Your body, your alignment, your spirit, all of these things can actually heal, along with spiritual practices, along with healing modalities that are natural. And no, the pharma industry, of course, is going to continue to do what they can in their power, because that it all comes down to the trillions that come out of their pockets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They talk about too big to fail,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's time. It's time it failed. It'll be replaced by something else. And my goal and my dream is that instead of these mago huge companies,
Hmm.
that we all step up and we all contribute our best and we all are wealthy. We
Hmm. Hmm.
all are living our dream best life. We're all contributing. Could you imagine what the world would be like if we all contributed our part?
Absolutely. And that in of itself now takes us out of that ant modality where we're all follow, 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 to that, hey, I'm good at this. Well, I'm great at this. Awesome. Let's build this, right? The more, and that's what I'm loving about the communities that are getting built right now, like this one, in fact, where we are all coming together and we're taking the skills that we have and we're helping each other get that message out to the world. And we're meeting people. We're like, oh, you do this, I do this. This could be lead to this, so that we're all constantly adding to versus taking from in
Yep.
order to create the expansion we're going to need in order to, of course, create the better world.
Absolutely. And instead of competition, beating each other down and stomping on one another, we're now saying, oh, I know someone you have to meet and let me connect you. And we are coming together. And I don't mean to cut any men out, but I'm sorry. It's the rise of the feminine energy. The masculine power and control it's done. And
Yeah.
now it's time to bring the humanness out of us. And I don't mean just women. I mean the feminine, the love, the joy, the creativity, the imagination, living life.
Mhm. I completely agree. It's part of my personal mission as well, as to particularly empower women. And you mentioned something that I think has been so missing, but now you can see it's absolutely flourishing. And that was, in the earlier days, women were taught only one can rise, right? And so it became, I think, quite a environment that was unhealthy for women, whereas men have always gotten together and said, "Oh, you need this? No, but I can hook you up with him." Whether it be in the clubs, whether it be in the golf course, they were constantly creating this power group. And
Mhm.
women were always isolated, alone, and said, okay, if I'm getting up that ladder, I'm going to have to climb it myself and kick anyone out of the way because there's only room for one. And that, I think, now has finally been shattered. And along with that will shatter the glass ceilings that were placed there financially. And it will create more of women lifting as we climb, as we all do truly see now that it is the power of the woman that will turn the way the world has gone, so that we can progress forward, add empathy, add sympathy, add the emotional element. We've all been taught to, oh, well, can't have her in charge. She gets too emotional. Well, there's nothing wrong with positive emotion. They don't even allow that. And so, it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Absolutely. And the thing is that we are biochemical beings. We are energetic
Yes.
beings living within an interconnected, interrelated system. You can't cut out emotions are information, they're our GPS. They're energetically connecting us to what we're putting out. If we're not in touch with our emotions, if we're not using them as the information and the tools that they are, then our bodies are having to wreak the pains of us being out of connection with that. And that's where stress and burnout and everything else comes in, men and women.
Yes, absolutely. And that you mentioned that so well, that the energetic kind of alignment of ourselves is what keeps it flowing. As soon as we stop, suppress, or push down something, well, then it's like I need out, I need out, I need out, and all of a sudden we have cancer, and all of a sudden we have something else occur. And so it is that energetic flow, and you can feel when you're in it.
Yeah,
And that means all of you, your joy,
yeah.
your sadness, your appreciation, your gratefulness, your anything that occurs, and that helps to move us all forward to greater connectivity.
Absolutely. And as men and women, as people, we have both male, or we have feminine and masculine traits, and they are both positive in different situations, and we have to be able to flow. We can't be tunnel visioned and not use everything that's been given to us, because we have everything we need.
Absolutely. I love that because always comes to mind is this: often when a woman now emerges her aggression because she needs to get a point across, she needs to get something done, she too needs to take charge and be in control. All of a sudden, a lot of people are saying, well, she's just a, a biatch, instead of that was great leadership, right? Had a guy done it, that would have been great leadership. And so I think slowly but surely now too, we're starting to break down those stereotypical responses to when a woman, becomes aggressive and when she's also soft, because we have to be both. And again, almost to the men credit, they were taught they had to be hard nosed and nothing else, right? And that's why I love the term, which is one of my target markets, enlightened males, because
Yeah,
those are the ones that have evolved. They've done the personal development. They appreciate and adore the power of a woman, and they appreciate the power of a man, and the fact that it's going to take all of us to turn this around.
absolutely. There's a lot of men who have been displaced because their roles, just like women were given the role of take on the masculine. Well, we had half of that in us, anyways. But the men don't cry, don't let them see you weak, do the. And now we've got men who are lost. They're not supposed
Mhm.
to be the strong, but they're not supposed to be the weak. And the dynamics are changing, and no one's ever said, you know what, we're human,
Mhm.
we're just human beings, we have it all.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And I love that. We're human beings, all of us. Color, creed, religion, race, identity, all of it. We're just human beings. And when we start with that and all of us understand that, there shouldn't be war, there shouldn't be fighting, there shouldn't be an imbalance. As you said, we can all be wealthy, we can all have it all. There doesn't need to be the class system that has evolved over time. It's really all about us now managing our own personal power, uniting it to advance globally, yet at the same time ensuring that all of us are delivering, as I call it, delivering from our overflow. You want
Yeah.
so much money that you can give to any philanthropy action that you want. You don't want to be emptying reserves all the time and then, not knowing where your next kind of surge will come from, because then that depletes your energy and again, we're at an energy deficit. We can't serve humanity and ourselves and our family if we're constantly starving.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have to unlearn some things because
I love
our
it.
school system was based on conformity, on right or wrong, on judgment. Everything was judgment. And it put us in a place of being afraid to be wrong because judgment and shame and guilt were being put on us if we were wrong or if we didn't fit in the box or if we were a genius like Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
These people, we've been taught to be all the same, but
Yeah, that's right.
snowflakes are all unique. Like, come
Yeah.
on, we have way more to do in this world than a snowflake.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And we can't operate from a cookie cutter mentality anymore. It is all about doing what each of us was meant to do. Well, Kathy, it has been a great pleasure having you on
Are
the
we
show.
done?
On the
Fast.
show. So please tell our listeners, how do they get in touch with you? How do they get more of you?
Well, I hope you'll put the notes in the show notes, but I'm at riseupcoaching.io. I'm also at unlearnthecrap.com. You can look up Kathy Baldwin, Rise Up Coaching, Unlearn the Crap. You will find me. But I have a special gift, especially for your listeners. And because I'm a teacher of universal laws and attracting to your inner self, I have a guide that will help people find out where they're in alignment with universal laws and where they're out of misalignment. And so that they can have that self-assessment to say, oh, this is where I'm running up against the brick wall. So yes, all that's there.
Once again, Kathy, thank you so much for being on Reach Millions TV. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I've enjoyed every second, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me.